Okay, welcome to another edition of the ConunDRUM podcast. I am your host, Dre, and my guest this week is one sexy motherfucker. His name is Ryan Barrie, and you've probably heard and seen him play with Wicked Vices, Kylie Fox. His new project, Too Bad Jim, have not yet played a show, but they have released a track on Spotify and all other streaming platforms. Go check them out. They're a two-piece, kind of a blues rock project. It's very good. And so he's a man of many talents. He's also the director of marketing for Los Cabos Drumsticks based in Fredericton, New Brunswick. I consider him a very good friend. We were trying to get this podcast together for a number of weeks. He's just so busy. It was hard to get the schedules aligned. And then when he was ready, I couldn't do it. It was just a whole mess of back and forth. So we wanted to do this before the ECMAs, and then it ended up falling through, and we ended up hanging out at the ECMAs. So we got to meet in person before having our chat. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, really, because we became fast friends, and he's just a great hang. He was everywhere during the ECMAs. I mean, the guy did not stop. I don't know how he got through it. I don't think he really knows how he got through it. We kind of get into that a little bit during our chat. So I don't want to take up too much of your time here at the start. So I'll just get right to it and enjoy my conversation with Ryan Barrie.
You see me?
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
How you doing?
Sorry. It's like, hey, how you doing? Sexy motherfucker.
Nice hoodie.
Hey.
It's a nice hoodie.
Oh, thanks. I like your
I should be wearing mine.
why? It's not like you work for them.
Yeah.
You don't got to represent nothing.
No. How you been? Haven't seen you in like
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Has it only been 2 weeks?
I'm trying to make this full screen. There. Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah. That was a crazy weekend. Like, I don't even know how you survived it.
Me neither.
It's just nonstop. I mean, it was awesome. It was just,
it was awesome. Yeah.
it's like, hold on for dear life and just kind of ride the wave until the end.
Being in 10 places at once.
Yeah.
But it was super fun. That was my first CCMAs.
Was it?
Yeah. It like both playing and like as a sponsor. So it was
Yeah.
it was crazy. And Tennille, the like marketing rep for the ECMAs, messaged me and was like going through the photos, and you're in like thousands of them. She was like, did you sleep? Like,
No, not really. No, like you were literally everywhere, like constantly.
Yeah, but it was I loved it. It was super fun.
Yeah. No, this I know we've been talking about having a podcast episode chat for a number of months, I'd say, probably almost a year. Off and on.
Yeah, it's been hard to schedule for sure.
So, but it was kind of, in a way, it was kind of good because we get to do this after having met in person. Because up until then, we'd like we have like similar circles of people that we've known and played gigs with, but we never actually crossed paths until the ECMAs.
The initial plan was to do it before, but I'm glad we waited.
Yeah.
But I don't even think it was like waiting. It was just like we couldn't line it up.
No, well, I mean, you're like crazy busy. Like, other than the day job, which we'll get into that later. I mean, you're pretty busy, stocked full with 3 musical projects that I know of, probably more than that.
Yeah, there's three, and then I started teaching in February. So
Okay.
yeah, the only like available evening it seems lately, um, Friday evenings, and usually they're gigging nights. But
Yeah. Right.
I'm glad we figured it out.
Yeah. No, it was great. It was a great time. I'm glad that we hung out. Jack even like he was like, dude, like Barry's just such a cool dude, man. Like he was just a good hang. Like talked hockey and we actually kept up with each other on the booze. Like
Yeah, yeah. Him and I had a wicked time,
yeah.
and yeah, it was just cool making the connections. Like you hear these names and stuff, but like how everyone's who's played with who's related to who, like,
Mhm.
and yeah, he loves his hockey, which is cool.
Dude,
Well, it's
don't
nice to
even
talk to another musician, like something other than music, like
yeah.
that doesn't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, dude, trust me, like whenever we have band practices or road trips or whatever, it's hockey all the time. And I especially at practice because Jack and Sean are both huge hockey nerds. So
And
they're talking, if they're not talking about
yeah,
the team, they're talking about the 10 different hockey pools that they're in. It's constant.
and I loved how it wasn't like, talking about our favorite NHL teams. We're like talking glory days,
Oh yeah, man.
high school and beer league and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, yeah, he's been playing like I met him because he was a hockey player.
Okay.
Um, when we started our very first band together, was I was in a band with him and Aaron Young from the Silver Tongue Doubles and a million other Fredericton bands.
Yeah.
Um, and Bruce Parks, who also was, I think he used to be in EI and he's down in Halifax now. But so it was me and Aaron and Bruce, and we needed a guitar player. And Aaron's like, I know this like skate punk kid that plays hockey on one of the teams. So because they played hockey against each other, he gave him the invite to come over to my place and just started jamming and formed a band. I
Went
think
from
we were
there.
like, he's a couple years younger than me. So he would have been, I don't know, 13, 12, 13. Like no
It's
business being
funny.
there.
It's funny how that happens because, like, with the guys that I played with too, it was a lot of the guys that I played hockey with growing up and high school hockey with. But I remember I went to a jam with an old band called White Liars probably like 5 years ago, and I had like an FHS, like, I don't know what it was. It was like an Under Armour shirt or something.
Right. What you'd wear under your gear, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And my bass player was like, "From jocks to rocks, eh, Barrie?"
yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Um, so let's, I mean, the whole premise of the podcast is to like find out more about, you know, all the awesome musicians and stuff that we have, particularly drummers, but not always, in Atlantic, Canada. So having just met you recently, and I kind of know a bit, more about you, but for anyone that's watching this or listening or whatever, so where do you originally come from? Like you from Fredericton area or?
Yeah, born and raised in Fredericton, Freddie
Yeah,
B.
Freddie Beach. There's no beach. Well, I guess there's a
We got
river, but
Mactaplack, and
yeah,
I in Killarney,
yeah.
which is
Okay.
man-made, so I don't know if that counts, but I guess the dam, so that's also man-made. They're not
Yeah.
they're not white sand beaches by any means.
No, no, no. And whatever. Yeah, I haven't I don't know a whole lot about Fredericton. Like I never went to school there. I never grew up in that area. Fredericton was always a further drive than Moncton, so we'd always take the road trip to Moncton, right? So
Mhm.
Fredericton's kind of a newer city like that I've experienced in more in my adult life. So I don't know a lot about like when you say the north side or like what the regional areas in Fredericton. So I'm not too
Yeah,
familiar.
I actually just moved to the north side, which is against all my beliefs. I'm from the south side, so
Big rivalry. I'm guessing school rivalries.
yeah, not anymore.
No.
Friends with all those people now. But no, my partner and I, Kylie Fox, we just moved to Marysville, and it's kind of a neighborhood where like it's turning into a younger neighborhood.
Mhm.
The old people are either moving out or going to homes or whatever, and all the young people are moving in.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And there's actually a music venue that's supposed to be opening up like right down the street from us. It's it's like a it's I think it's called Mill Street. It's like a cafe, but I think they're gonna license it and
Okay.
have just kind of like a, I don't know if you've been to the Tipsy Muse, but maybe a similar vibe to that.
No.
They're like a newer, I shouldn't say newer. They've been around for probably like 4 years now, but they're a music venue in town.
Okay. Is that more like acoustic kind of a vibe, or
Yeah,
not like a,
yeah.
not
I've
what I do?
I've I've played there. Well, it's funny. The two piece I was telling you about, we're playing there in August, and I told the owners, well, Uncle Rob Pinnock, but from the Fox, him and Krista, Miss T, she's a music teacher as well. But anyway, they were asking about the two piece, and I was like, we're like, you know, a late night cap venue with,
Yeah. Plugged in amplifiers
plugged
and
in and
yeah.
loud. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. I
Whatever.
told them it's gonna be different, but
Hey, try it.
I played there with Vices um 2 years ago, and it was like dialed back. We like reworked the set so it would work acoustically, and like I played with slapsticks and stuff. Kylie and I have played there before, but yeah, just like bare bones.
Mhm. Which is fun sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
it's different, and
yeah,
yeah, it's a good change up.
like we did
But
in Miramichi, Terry Whalen, one of the big blues guys, he did a series in his old family's old barn called the Whalen's Barn. And we did a set there of Six Gun Smoke stuff. And it was like I had the slapsticks and like it was acoustic and it was dialed back. And some of the, I mean, we adapted some of the songs. Of course, when we started it, there was a bit of a more of a country vibe to it.
I did
I'll have
say
to
like
like,
you playing in a barn would be pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, we thought about recording drums there.
Man,
Um,
I was listening to your record today. Sort of cut you off, but I really liked the drum sound that you.
oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So I'll ask you about that later. But sorry, go
Okay.
on.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, we can go wherever you want, man. Like this is wide open. Well, I'm already like I've asked one question so far. So but yeah, the Whalen's Barn thing, it definitely has that, they had to run electricity from the house. Like there's no electricity in it at all. Um really good room sounds, especially like acoustic stuff. So whenever there'd be a band that would require anyone to be plugged in, they just run power to it. It was a really good vibe. It was a really cool series. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to continue it because his parents, they still lived in the property, so they were getting up in years, and it was a whole thing to manage, like parking and try, like, because I mean, it's their house. Um, but it was a really cool series. There's actually a few videos. Kendra Gale band, like her and
Oh
Kendra and Warren, they have
yeah.
a couple of videos from Rogers TV because they did some features there. I'll shoot you the links. You can hear them. They're
Yeah,
actually
I'll
pretty
check it
good.
out for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I've only ever played in a barn. It was a festival like 3 years ago. Like Eddie Young was putting it on. He was out in like Stanley somewhere, but
Mhm.
yeah, playing in different venues like that, is never a bad time.
No, no, no. Yeah, like I mean, the bars around here, the ones that we played at, O'Donoghue's and used to be called the Boulevard. It's called the Perros Lounge. They're similar setup to the Cap and Broken Records, where it's kind of like narrow and long, but
Yeah.
it's like half the space
Oh really?
and it's like half as long. So it's like kind of
It's
a
a room.
little mini tunnel. Like it's a rough spot to fit a 5-piece band.
Yeah.
But the rooms always sound good and you adapt to the volumes or whatever. And the more people, the more you can kind of dig in a little bit
Mhm.
just because of the
True.
whole, the
Yeah.
human bodies absorbing sound and
I
whatever.
love space.
Yeah. Um, so do you come from like a large family? Like do you have like siblings and all that jazz?
I'm in the middle of two sisters. So I've got an older sister, Cynthia. She's 3 years older than I am, and then a younger sister, Natalie. She's 5 years younger than I am. And then
Okay.
Paul and Sue.
Okay. So you got
Yeah,
the middle child syndrome. So
I
you're
got the
always
middle child.
looking for attention.
Yeah, and the only boy too. It's
Yeah,
might answer a few questions.
yeah. So what was that dynamic like? Were they also involved in music growing up?
Mm, well, it's funny. I like begged my parents for drums forever, and obviously, like we talked about playing hockey, like not realizing the cost of that when you're a kid.
Hmm.
Um, my little sister got a nice piano, and I was so pissed. And I was like, she's gonna play that for 2 weeks, and that's gonna be it. Like she'll do your lessons and all this,
Hmm.
but anyway, and that was it. And that's exactly what happened. She maybe lasted a month, but no,
Piano's hard, man.
yeah, none of them really, I don't know, pursued it. Nice mug.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't even have one of those.
You got a banner in the background, dude.
Oh
You're
yeah,
fine.
that's an oldie. It's an oldie. But yeah, no one, I can't even think like distant relatives playing. Like no one really had a musical bone. So
So
I don't know where it came from.
so yeah, like just in your buddies in school or just what was playing
I
spoke to
was
you like.
I was um I was like 10 years old, and I went to my buddy's place, and we were gonna play, like, you remember those Nerf basketball nets you put on like your closet door?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, we would like crank tunes and play basketball in his basement. Basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but I went downstairs, and his brother just got this brand new Yamaha kit, and that was like my first like aha moment.
Hmm.
Um, and then I was like, "Can I play that?" And he let me, obviously, just like not knowing what the hell to do, just beating the shit out of them, sort of thing. And then from there, I didn't get my own kit until I was 17, but my buddies had kits. So I'd
Hmm.
go to their place and play their kits.
Right.
Piss off their parents.
And then
um,
just make a bunch of noise and then walk out. See you later.
and I had a bunch of friends who were like involved in like, they were just learning guitar and stuff. And like, I just wanted to be a part of it. Like I couldn't carry a beat or anything. I just wanted to be around it. So like I would have them over, and like they would play in my garage. My buddy went away for like summer camp once and was like, "Do you want to borrow my kit for the summer?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I do."
Yeah.
So it was just like chipping away at it, and then like playing on pots and pans and all that. There
Steering
was
wheels and
Yeah, I got a set of sticks in my stocking when I was 15, thinking there was a drum kit in the house. There was no drum kit in the house. Fucking
oh
devastating.
dude,
I
that's
got a
like
I got
the
a Toronto Maple Leaf.
excitement and then
Yeah.
just
Oh
rip your
man.
heart out like.
Yeah. I looked all around the house. There was nothing there. And then my mom was like, "There's something like behind the tree." And then I pulled out. It was a Toronto Maple Leafs garbage can, like kind of like snare height sort of thing. And I just flipped that upside down, and that was my first snare drum, I guess.
Sounds just like Lars's snare drum and
Yeah,
what was that, a Saint Anger album,
yeah,
whatever.
St. Anger.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I saw that video. That's hilarious. I think it
Oh,
was like
from
I think
was it
Jared Falk did something.
Cameron Fleury did it too, didn't
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is ridiculous snare. It
he?
sounds like the snare in Teenage Dirtbag.
Oh yeah, just
Read it.
some terrible, terrible snare sounds. I'm yeah. The whole thing about you were saying about our album that you're listening to, like that snare sound, man, just wasn't
You
happy
don't like
about it.
it?
Nah.
What's the song? I think it's called the Taker. It's called The Taker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
yeah. That's
Shock jock beat going on.
yeah. That one's kind of like my breather in the mid set.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Um. So the drums were something that you just naturally gravitated towards. There wasn't any other instrument that you were like keeping
Yeah,
an eye
my dad was like, "I'll get you a guitar," and I was like, "I don't want a guitar." I mean, like I said, like with hockey and everything, you don't realize like
Yeah.
how much money your parents, put into that.
Mhm.
So it was kind of, it was this or that. And, with drums, the great thing about it is if you have a set of sticks, you can still play on something.
Yeah, you can. Well, I mean, you can start doing the whole, rudiments and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, did you take lessons to get that going before getting the kit?
No, it was probably like 3 years after I had my kit when I would kind of realize I was like, I need some sort of like formal understanding of what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
Because it was just like, put the headphones in and play the songs, and I jammed like with a few of my buddies, but there was no like band by any means at that
Mhm.
point. And then I went to Tony's, and Carl Gans gave me lessons for a little while, probably like 2 or 3 months, but it was just like, fundamentals of, when do I stop playing? Like what does like notation, and I'm still not great with notation, but like, I'd be like, what's like, how do you do a triplet? Like on the toms, like show me a bonzo triplet, stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Um, and he'd be like, I'll show you this fill. And I'll be like, oh, I know that one. And then I just play it continuously. And then he'd be like, yeah, but you got to know when it ends.
You got to know where to go from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Carl was, yeah, he helped me a lot with that stuff. But it came to a point where like, he was like, I can't really teach you anything else. Like if you want to learn something else, like YouTube is all the resources you really
Yeah.
need. Um, And another funny thing about Carl too is he's the one who got me on Los Cabos Sticks. There was like a promo thing going on at Tony's, and it was like get 6 pairs of something and you get like a free splash. And I
Okay.
just like they all just blew apart. And then I like within like, not playing them very long. And then I like went back and I was like, Carl, like what's going on here? And then this is when he like just started endorsing Los Cabos, and he was playing 5B Reds, and he
Mhm.
had his print on them and everything. And I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And then he was like, try these. And I still have that pair of sticks.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah. Um, and I used to like, with my old stick bag, I would keep, I don't know, I was really superstitious with hockey too, like putting on like the right side of my gear before my left and all that shit.
Okay.
Like I just having like, I don't know, I would have sticks from artists that I, kind of looked up to that I would like keep in my bag for shows
Mhm.
for whatever reason.
Yeah. Do you still do that, or you just need all that room for all your other?
No, now it's a toolbox.
Yeah.
So it's more than just my 5As. Well, 5A intense now. I just
Yeah.
recently changed, but yeah,
So
it's
you still doing the reds?
yeah, and I always will, I think.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
Come.
Yeah, that was a long, long time ago. And Um, I played the 5As forever, and then I just recently switched to 5A intense,
Really?
extra length. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I can't
Well,
go back to the regular size drumstick.
well,
Like I my wife surprised me for, I want to say it was Father's Day, and her and Phil, props to Phil, um, she worked with him to surprise me with like a brick of sticks and a bunch of stuff, right? So because they all just go by what he did in his last order. And
Right.
not knowing that my last order, I ordered some 5Bs for my students.
Uh,
So he gave me a whole brick of like 5B reds. And I was just like, these are too short. But I used them, so I adapted my drum kit to like the
yeah.
floor tom, so I could bring everything closer. And I still have a couple. I gave a couple pairs away to some people to try them, because that's what we do as artists,
That's good.
representing the brand.
That's what I want to hear.
And what's that?
So that's what I want to hear.
Yeah, yeah. So but then, because as you know, I'm a rock white hickory guy. Like,
Yeah.
those are the baseball bats that I need to swing and to try to break
Yeah.
whatever's in front of me. Um, so So you've been using Los Cabos since pretty much the beginning of when you were playing.
Well, the first pair of sticks, the pair that was in my stocking would have been in 2005, which is when Los Cabos started, but they weren't Los Cabos sticks. They were called, they just had solutions on them. That was the only name. And I don't know if that was like,
Never heard of them.
I mean, I haven't since either. So, and those are in a box somewhere. But no, I probably, to give you like an exact year, I don't know when that would have been, probably like 2008, maybe.
Well, how long have you been
2008,
endorsing them? Because you've been endorsing them for
Um,
a while now.
officially since 2016.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I remember like it was in 2013. I was just about to move. I lived in Australia for a year, and I was just about to leave, and I wanted to get like a pair of sticks to bring with me. So I just messaged their like Facebook page. I
Right.
was like, "You do like custom printed sticks?" And it would have been Phil who answered, I assume, but like we only do that for our guys, sort of thing. So in my head, I was like, okay, like wheels are in motion now. Like, what do I have to do to achieve that?
Yeah, yeah. Because now
Yeah.
you do have your own branded sticks.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they're just like one of their,
Oh, yeah.
one
Well,
that you can put on the shelf, but with the print. Yeah,
that's what everybody does.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's
That's
a
true.
few people that have like signature sticks, like with other brands and stuff, but for the most
Yeah,
part, if they're not a signature stick, they're branded with their name or their
yeah,
band, but it's just an off
that's
the
true.
shelf stick. So
Yeah, we did do them for uh, Richie Ramone for a
mhm,
bit, when
mhm.
for a bit, like a long, long time.
Yeah,
And that just recently stopped. But he had his own stick
yeah,
with
yeah.
his name on it and stuff.
So you'd
Which
still have the blades for that though, probably.
yeah, 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 we still have them.
Yeah,
And that's, I don't know, something might happen from that. We'll
yeah, yeah.
see.
We'll see. Yeah, like I know, like I'm in the know. So going to what was your first band then? Like it was in high school?
No, it was, well, I started jamming, like the first time I started jamming with people would have been in like 2020, summer of 2010, probably. Um, and we just call them Sunday jams. We go to my buddy's place, and we were all kind of learning our instrument at the time. There was one guy who now plays. I play in a band with Kylie Fox, Sean Hutchins.
Mhm.
He was really the only one that could play his instrument, but that band turned into, well, those jams, I should say, turned into the Midnight Ramblers. I wasn't in that band, but that was the group of guys I started playing with. And then once they formed that band, I started playing with some other guys who I used to play hockey with too. And that band was called the Creeks. We started jamming in Pepper Creek. It's just like an area of the north side,
Mhm.
and we just took the name from that. And yeah, we put out an EP in like 2013, I think it was, and then I moved away.
Okay.
But yeah, the Creeks would have been my first band.
Okay. So that when you say you moved away, is that when you moved to Australia?
Yeah, yeah, I moved in April of 2013,
Okay.
and then I came back in April of 2014. I was
Okay.
gone for a year. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So what brought you to Australia?
Um, that was just my best buddy, Elliot. Him and I had some friends who did it when we were still in high school, and they were in like second year university, and they just came back and they were telling us all about it, and then we were just like, we should do that. And then at that time, I had just finished school. He had just finished school. We're like, if we're gonna do it, now's the time.
Now's the time. Yeah.
So yeah, there's no real like real rhyme or reason. We just wanted to,
It was a vision quest.
yeah, yeah, and it's crazy, crazy time. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you get involved in like with marketing and stuff? Like I assume that you went to
Yeah.
school for marketing.
Yeah, so that was a long journey to find what I actually wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did my undergrad in science and kinesiology because I was really interested in sports psych.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then interests changed. When I came home from Australia, I became a personal trainer and I liked the teaching aspect of that. So I went and did my B.Ed, and then I taught for probably 2 years. Um, and I was doing like the behind the scenes sort of thing for the bands, like, grant writing and social media and dealing with promoters and everything. And, you know, building the brands of those bands, and I really liked that. So then I was like, okay, maybe I'll go get some formal business training. So I went and did my MBA, and then I finished that last April. And then I was applying for tons of jobs that I didn't want.
Right. Yeah.
And I always had, like, even before the endorsement with Los Cabos, it was kind of like where I'm local. If they had like, new products or something, I was always kind of like a guinea pig. And I did like
Mm-hmm.
an advertisement campaign with them in 2015. Um,
Is that all those videos that you're playing all the different sticks?
yeah, I was like playing every stick in their line.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that was a while ago. Um, and that's what kind of led to the endorsement thing. Um, but yeah, anyway, I had Larry, the owner, on LinkedIn, and I had like my profile as like recent grad, like seeking marketing position,
Right.
something like that. And then he reached out to me, and then we just had a chat, and it went from there.
Well,
And
cool.
that was last July.
How did that land you into being the director of marketing with Los Cabos? Like, being just an endorsed artist does not a job one give, right?
Yeah.
So,
Um, Honestly, I think it was just a combination of things, like being around, like knowing the family, um, kind of helping out where I could over the years, um, and then having like formal business education, definitely helped. And then just having a conversation with Larry on like how I think, like what I could do to help. Yeah, I guess he just liked what I had to say,
mhm. So
and I still have a job.
what does the director of marketing do? Like, what's your day to
Well,
day?
honestly, it's like it's many, many hats. Like it's social media management, it's customer service, it's product development. Um, the biggest thing I would say is dealing with distributors, um, providing them with, marketing materials, um, creating some campaigns, getting features in like Modern Drummer, Music Inc. magazine. Um, lots of different things. The social media thing is a big part of it, and
Mhm.
like getting in tune with uh, all these new platforms like TikTok, all the
Oh,
what the kids are doing.
God. Yeah.
Um, so, and that's the thing too, is like when I started, it wasn't like there was no formal training. It was like I told you this, ECMA is like it was. There's the break room, like there's the
Hmm.
bathroom, there's your desk,
Yeah.
have at it sort of thing. So I've kind of like made it my own, which is great. And like Phil and I bounce ideas off each other all the time. Um, yeah, like creating partnerships with other brands. Um, it's like I said, it's a whole list of things, but it's not. When I sat down the first day, it was like, okay, like what am I doing?
So what do you want me to
um,
do? Yeah.
but, I'm I'm pretty pleased with the stuff I've come up with and how things have been turning out.
Mhm.
Especially with like every other business struggling with COVID and stuff. But like if drummers aren't on stage playing shows, they're probably not buying a bunch of sticks, right? So obviously the pandemic was scary,
Mhm.
but we're definitely out of that. Um, like we got things are picking up for sure,
Yeah.
and our lists of artists is growing, which is nice to see. Um, and like doing stuff like we're going to the Quebec drum show. Ralph Angelillo puts that on, so like all the Drumio's going to be there, Sabian's going to be there,
Mhm.
Roland will be there. He's flying in a bunch of A+ guys to do clinics and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I follow him in one of the groups that he has for drummers. He posts regularly, like who's coming to the drum show and
he's
past guests
yeah,
and all that
he's a
type of
great
stuff.
guy, man. This is his last year doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
saw that heartfelt post that he put up. Like, he doesn't want to stop, but at the same time, he's getting up there in age and he wants to spend time with his family and his grandkids. Like, you can't fault the guy.
yeah, exactly. And like so there's that. The ECMA thing, being an official partner for that was really cool.
Hmm.
Um, we have well, we were supposed to have some representation at some drum shows coming up, but sure enough, COVID put the kibosh on that too.
Yeah.
It happened twice. We were supposed to have representation at the UK drum show. COVID stepped in, and then we're supposed to have representation at Chicago drum show, and the same thing happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of been bad luck in terms of that. Like obviously we're through with it, but it's
Yeah.
not us sort of thing.
So would you be the one to like coordinate with the drum show, the artist that you'd want to book and represent the brand
Yeah,
at wherever it is?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's also turned into a lot of artist relations too, which is my favorite part of the job for sure.
Yeah.
Um, you know, meeting you, for example. But like all the other guys, like since I've started, um, I'll get texts like, "Hey, got a tour coming up. Get them sorted for six." Like I love helping them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but with the drum shows coming up, so the big one obviously is NAM. That was canceled last year, so they're doing one in July. Um,
That would be the one in LA, right?
yeah, it's in Anaheim. So I went to that one just as an artist in 2019, and it was super cool, like sensory overload.
Yeah. Because isn't
So
there one on the East Coast too? Isn't there a NAM show, or is that called something else?
not that I know of. There's a ton of drum specific shows in the States, but in NAM is just like it's everything:
Yeah. Yeah.
guitars, keys, recording equipment,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we're planning to go. That usually takes place in January, so we're planning to go then. In the meantime, we have one in September in Quebec City. Um, and then there's the Chicago Drum Show, which we were going to have representation at, but COVID kind of ruined those plans.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's the Music City Drum Show that's in Nashville, and one of our artists, Garrett Fox, unreal guy. He's also a real estate agent, so he has like all the video equipment to like show houses and stuff. So
Right.
he went to that show. I think it was in October. I think they do two a year, but he went to the one. I think it was in the fall, and he brought all the equipment and like did interviews with some of our distributors there. They did
Right.
an unreal job. So it's cool. Like if we can't go, physically be there, we
Hmm.
have artists in town who can take care of things.
Yeah. Rep the brand. That's cool.
Yeah.
I
Been
mean,
doing
locally made, globally played, right? So,
a
so I thought that was a cool catchphrase. I don't know. It's a good one. Anyway.
Yeah,
So
I toyed around with a few of those.
yeah,
I can't remember all of them, but yeah, I came up one. Yeah, there was. It was so yeah. It's Canadian made, internationally played.
yeah, it's a
But
good one.
there was a few other ones, but I don't know. They're in my notes on my
There
phone.
you
They didn't
go.
make the cut.
They didn't make the cut. They're all right. Yeah. So along with being, an artist rep and the director of marketing, clearly a drummer. So who would have been your influences like that? Let's say if you're like playing the drums and like you'll hear something that you're doing and you instantly know where you got that from. Like there's
Big
gotta,
biggest I would say is Chad Smith,
yeah,
Chili Peppers. Yeah, it's hard to like pinpoint one, but I would say he would probably be the biggest one for me.
mhm,
Um, but your usual suspects, your
yeah,
Bonham and Travis Barker, and but like that was like the music I listened to when I was learning how to play drums was like like Pearl Jam.
mhm,
So Matt Cameron. Um, listen to a lot of Gaslight Anthem as of like I don't know within the last 5 years. So that's kind of like bled into my playing a bit. His name is Benny Horowitz.
mhm,
They're like kind of like a new age Bruce Springsteen, I would say. They're with like a punk edge to them.
yeah,
Um, but they've been on hiatus for a long time, but they're actually starting to tour again. Um, yeah, I would say if I were to like, it's funny you say that because I was rehearsing last week and I was playing a fill and I was like, where did this come from? And it was Chad Smith.
that was,
Um, but another big one lately is Ben Thatcher from Royal Blood.
yeah,
He's a monster and super creative.
yeah. He does a lot of pretty interesting odd time
Um,
fills. Like they just come out of nowhere and you're like, wait, how does that fit? But
yeah,
it's there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's a healthy mix of a lot of different guys, I should say.
Yeah, which is normal. Like,
Yeah,
that I don't want to have like that same old, boring question. So who'd you listen to growing up? And, because I mean we're all the same, we all listen to the same type of,
oh yeah, yeah,
players. The top tier players kind of come up, the cream rises to the top or whatever. But is there
exactly.
any like unusual players that you don't hear a lot of other guys mentioning that you kind of dig?
Unusual guys. I don't know, man. I listened to it like growing up. It was a lot of like Foo, Nirvana. So your Dave, your Taylor, David Brucey's like early Pearl Jam, early-ish Pearl Jam.
Mhm.
Um,
To me, he's still my favorite Pearl Jam drummer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Those two albums that he was on, like Versus and Vitology.
yeah.
Like I get the Cameron era and he's been the longest running drummer. And dude, I love Matt Cameron, especially what he did with Soundgarden. Like I find with Pearl Jam, he's sort of not really, he's kind of reined in a little bit,
Mhm.
but Abraziz was just killing it.
Yeah. So like your '90s grunge era is
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
that's the stuff I learned. I was playing to with my headphones on. I'm trying to think if there's any like oddballs. Like the oddball would probably be Benny Horowitz.
Yeah.
Um, like when I bring up the Gaslight Anthem to some of my friends, they're like, I really only have like one other buddy that listens to them, who's also a musician. But like, I'm always like, as you do with your musician friends, like you check these guys out and all
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say he's like kind of like the odd duck that wouldn't be as mainstream as the other ones.
Yeah. Cool. Um, so where you do play in three bands that I know about, you probably play in more than just those three because That's just who you are. So Wicked Vices is probably the longest band that you're currently in.
Yeah. So that one's gone through a few lineup changes and band name changes, but that started basically when I got back from Australia. So 2015 is when the kind of like core group started playing together. And then we got Kristen Vautour came in on vocals in fall of 2016. So, and that's when the name change happened too. So we've been sitting on a full length for a while.
Yeah.
We just released our like fifth single, and the reason for that is because we want to do it like a proper release show and everything. And Kristen just had a baby boy. I shouldn't say just; he's 6 or 7 months old now.
That's still pretty recent.
That's pretty new.
It still has
So,
that new car smell.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, obviously life happens and you gotta press the pause button sometimes. So our first show back in over a year will be June 3rd.
Okay.
And that's gonna be a crazy weekend. Because I'm playing with all three bands that weekend.
I was gonna say, don't you already have bookings for that?
Yeah, so Vices play the Friday, and then the new project is it's called Too Bad Jim. That's with Matt Carr from Tortoise Hare and the Millionaire. So it's just a 2-piece, which is super fun.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to being in groups with at least 3.
Yeah.
Usually 5. So scheduling is not a problem.
Nope.
Bouncing ideas is like that's all you're doing really.
Yeah.
And it's pretty relaxed. So our first show is this Friday, and then the second show is the Living Roots show. And then that Sunday of that festival, I'm playing with Kylie. So Kylie is also my partner in crime. And I've been playing. So what happened there, we were supposed to do, for her album release, it was supposed to be 3 rehearsals, I think, and then 3 shows. And it kept getting pushed and pushed, as you know, with that thing that happened with the world. And anyway, it ended up being like a year's worth of rehearsals, and then it turned into being a band, which is awesome.
Yeah, because it's a 5-piece.
Yeah.
So it's not just like you got you on drums, and then you've got Kylie, and then you got Kelly Waterhouse from the Hypochondriacs.
Yeah, she's playing everything. So she's on keys, sax, flute, shaker, tambo, vocals.
And then you got the other 2 cats.
Yeah, Sean Hutchins and Camillo. And yeah, they've been in the New Brunswick scene forever.
Yeah, like she's got
Sean was the guy that I was playing with years and years ago.
Yeah, like that band, like Kylie's band, is pretty much an all-star band lineup.
And we have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
You guys, like during the ECMAs, I caught the second half of your set. Like by the time we got back after the very long, drawn out award ceremony, the first night, we got back about midway through your set. So I got the tail end of it. But it sounded phenomenal, and that room sounds great, but like you guys sounded really good.
Thank you. And it was nice playing a different room. That was my first time playing that venue, and it's nice to play. It's nice to have another venue in town. And yeah, that's where the show is going to be this Friday with Matt. But yeah, that took some adjusting for sure, because like growing up playing 90s grunge is you learn that's what you learn to play, so it's like heavy hitting and smashing them. So with Kylie it's a little bit more delicate, so bringing in brushes and mallets and slapsticks and just like playing the drums rather than smashing the drums.
So would you say you're more of a percussionist with that project than a drummer?
No, well, No, I would say I'm definitely still a drummer, but my stick bag has many different tools.
Yeah.
And actually, on that note, Warren said something funny to me during the ECMAs, and he's like, "Well, if you're what did he say? He's like, if you're a carpenter, you can't have 10 hammers in one in your toolbox."
Uh,
So
that's very true.
a good
I
analogy.
have, I just have sledgehammers in mine. That's all I carry.
But I mean, like, that's just it, though. Is like playing with Vice's Too Bad Jim and Kylie. It's they all have their respective style of play.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that took some adjusting, but like, you know,
Yeah. So the like the two-piece thing, it's funny because when Jack and I started the band, um, it was a two-piece. It was called the DiBiase's,
yeah,
based off the Million Dollar Man, because we're both wrestling nerds from back in the day. And he was probably one of the arguably the best heel in the business, right? So
yeah.
and it was just sort of a funny play on like, because hey, we're going to be in a band, let's make some money, right? It's like, yeah, nobody makes money playing in a band. So the DiBiase's, yeah, anyway, so it was a little play on that. So anyway, it's kind of
Yeah.
funny, but anyway, it was just a two-piece. It started out him and an acoustic guitar playing like punk rock covers and writing originals, and then um we just started at rehearsal just getting back to our punk roots. He switched over to the electric Gretsch, and then
Mhm.
Sean joined the band, and then they had a bass player, and then we just kept, we didn't fight it. We just kind of let the natural progression lead us back to our
Yeah.
roots of punk rock. And we just kind of made the decision, like, why are we fighting this? Like, let's just go full on what comes out naturally, which was what it is now. And we did the brand change at the same time from DiBiase's to Six Gun Smoke, which was initially a song title.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you too, with the album cover, like who did that, and where did the like skull come from?
Well, we brainstormed the skull thing just on a chat. It was me, Jack, and at the time, Sean was having some health issues. So his nephew, James McClafferty, who's, you know, big metal guy in the scene. He's in that metal documentary. God, I can't remember the name of it now. Maritime Metal
Okay, yeah.
documentary. Like he played in like Chaos and Slaughter of Saints and those metal bands back in the day. So he's got a background. Um, Holophonic Porno, he was in that band. So he's an audio engineer. Like he went away to school, and so he started filling in for Sean. And then so we were just chatting because he's an audio engineer, right? So we were talking about recording the album, and he's like, well, I got, some gear, I can do it, I can put it together. Um so just the album cover, we were just shooting images back and forth and ideas, and same thing with the logo. And he just kind of shot that over. It was like, hey, what do you guys think of that? And I'm like, okay, that works. So
Super cool.
he did the album cover, and
Yeah.
then I did the liner and the back cover and the liner stuff. um yeah,
No,
because
super cool.
at that point, after recording the album and we put the album out, we played a couple shows. um then COVID was kind of becoming a thing, or it was a thing at the time, because Jack did half of his vocals in a closet, um, because he was in isolation.
Yeah.
So he just emailed him the tracks. Um, so because of that, James started his own production, not production company. He already had that, Mobian Productions, but he started his own tech support, Mobian Support, and that kind of started taking away his attention. And so he was like, hey guys, I got to step away, I'm busy with this, I don't have time for the band stuff, but I'll help it when I can. And as he left the band, Sean's health was better, and he was dropping off t-shirts that we just made, the first batch of Six Gun Smoke t-shirts, to my house. And he's like, so I hear you need a bass player, hey guys. So like just right back in the band like nothing happened. So
Crazy.
yeah.
No, I think the artwork's super cool.
Yeah. So James did the album cover, and he recorded and mastered and mixed the whole thing. Yeah. And
DIY.
yeah. Oh, the whole album. That's what took such a piss out of the fact that we were nominated for an ECMA. because we're like, I don't know the backstory to the other bands, and I'm sure a lot of that is DIY stuff too, but like we legit recorded that. Like the drums were recorded in our rehearsal space,
Yeah.
which during the day is an office space.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack and James did the bass and the guitar tracks in his home bedroom studio. And
It sounds good, and you don't need like you don't need the $1 million studio to get the sound like.
not with what we're doing.
Well, I what during it was this time last year. We were going to Kylie and I were going to Paddle Fest, and she was doing this. It was like a collaboration thing between her and another artist from PEI and a producer in Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm.
And she did the vocal in the hotel room and like did the piano in our living room and sent it to him and like got it back and was like, what?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So the game is, I think, yeah, COVID has, forced musicians to adapt, and I think the game has changed in that front. You don't need to, rent thousands of dollars studio recording time. You can, if you have the tools to do it, then
you need good mics and a good preamp.
Yeah.
And then the software takes care of the rest.
In a nice room for the drums.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what we're doing with Too Bad Jim stuff. We just did the drums at Eric Allard. He plays bass in Tortoise Hair and the Millionaire. We just did it in his loft.
Mm-hmm. Oh, lofts are great.
And Matt's mixing it. But yeah.
So
more cost effective.
So where you're doing the singles with Wicked Vices and you have a full length. So the singles, you were putting them out more so because of COVID and just trying to keep things kind of moving.
Yeah. Okay. Just trying to, have some sort of presence.
So with that, so the Too Bad Jim, like I know you put out a single a week or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the full length going to be the next thing to come out, or are you
going to? So we've only record like how Matt and I are going to do it. We're just going to pick away at singles. They might not all be released as singles, probably not, but we'll try to do like one every month or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then, once we have enough for an LP, hopefully make enough money to press it.
Okay. So the goal is to press it on plastic?
Well, eventually, I would like to do that, but we're still in the infancy, right? We haven't even really played the show. So I think right now it's just have fun and get some recordings done when we can. And then once we have enough, like maybe we do an EP, like who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, we got the stems for another single. I don't know when that'll come out, maybe July.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Because new music and being able to listen to stuff is kind of a good thing.
Yeah. And it does seem like with the Vice's release, it's been dragged on, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a rule book, and I don't really care. If we release 10 songs as singles and then put out the LP, then whatever. But the plan is to hopefully do a release show in September, and then that'll be it.
Okay.
And then it'll be out. But, yeah, still in the works.
Okay. And there'll be physical copies of that.
I don't even know if we're gonna I want to do vinyl pressings.
It's just so expensive.
It's so expensive, and honestly, we're not playing really enough right now. And I know that we're expecting another little one in the band, not mine.
Okay.
Someone else is expecting, so we're gonna be taking another little hiatus too. Shows are up, so it's like, yeah, we can press them and they can sit in a cardboard box until we.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So I don't know. It's up in the air right now.
And to sell vinyl, you got to be playing shows because that's where you make those sales.
Yeah.
All right. So crash questions. You ready?
I guess.
There's nothing terrible. The first question is always cake or pie.
Ooh. I'm cheating because I watched
I,
I watched Rich Knox episode, and he asked if meat pie was an option,
yeah,
and I can't remember if he said yes or no.
yeah,
But
it's an option.
I'm
Sure,
more
it's pie.
I'm more of like savory than sweets.
Okay.
Meat pies in Australia, man,
Yeah.
they're everywhere. You get them at like 7-Eleven.
Serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to say, oh,
Yeah.
shepherd's pie too.
Shepherd.
Shepherd's
Yeah.
pie.
He mentioned shepherd's pie too. Yeah.
That's ultimate comfort food. So pie.
All right. Cool. Awesome. So as a drummer, this is one of the drummer questions that is part of the crash questions. So if you're laying into a groove, you're like in the pocket. Are you more of a hi-hat or a ride guy?
Ooh, in the pocket, hi-hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I take the like, I don't know if this is just something I came up with, but like with Dave Grohl, you find he's very like hats in the verse, ride in the chorus sort of thing. That's kind of like my
Yeah.
general rule of thumb, depending on the song. But in the pocket, I would say hi-hat.
Yeah. Cool. Um, so if the phone rang, like after we got off this call, the phone rang and somebody needed to sub in, what's the one band like that you could sub in, no questions, no rehearsal, just get on stage and nail it?
Uh, probably the Chili Peppers.
Yeah. I assumed some. I
But
assume that.
I'm not Chad Smith, but I'm familiar with their catalog.
Yeah. 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 All right. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just certain bands that just you've listened to so much that you could literally, it could be like their whole catalog, or it could just be like one album
Yeah.
that you just go
Program
in.
would be like, you know, sharing number one there. And I also saw like they just brought up because Matt Cameron got COVID or something, and they brought up like this 18-year-old from the crowd.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah. He played, I think, what song did he play?
Was it Wygo or
No, it
okay.
was one of their newer ones. It's got that real tricky intro.
I just saw a clip of it and I was just
Yeah.
so envious. I didn't even think I realized the song he was playing.
I've got the song in my head, but I just can't think of the name of it. And I'm not going to sing it.
But yeah, I would say either or.
Yeah. So if you had one CD stuck in your car, what's the one CD you would not want it to be?
What I would not want it to be.
Yeah.
Oh man. Whew. I don't know, something like you remember like those bands from like, I don't know, maybe like the Moffats or the Hansons or like one of those like boy bands from like 93, 94. But I did have a Backstreet Boys cassette once upon a time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Hey, no
not
shame, man. I had MC Hammer, Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him. I had Vanilla Ice to the extreme. I had like, dude, my
oh
my
no,
cassette collection
no
is
shame, no shame at all. I'm just trying to think because that's typically like I thought you were gonna say what one would you have like in there at all times, and I was
oh
like,
yeah. No, I have to throw the curveball, man.
curveball.
The knuckle puck.
Uh, Knuckle puck time. Frig, that's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It would have to be something like dubstep. I don't know. I can't like get behind like that crazy.
That weird techno.
Yeah, I can't do it. I
Yeah.
try, but I just can't.
For me, it would be anything like with programmed drums, like the whole way. Like,
Yeah. I would say yeah. I would rather Hanson's or the Moffats before like, like like
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
just can't get behind it. I've tried. I
yeah,
think I'm pretty open in terms of listening to new stuff, but I definitely have my favorites, and you know.
yeah. I listen to a lot of like wide range of stuff, and what impresses me when I see somebody playing live, like over the ECMAs at the award show in the showcases, like 180's doing rap stuff. He's got a band behind him. Like
Mhm.
that to me is that's because most rap guys they play with a backing track. And there's a few of them over the weekend that did, and no shade on them because they're still doing their thing. But to go up with a band and rap, and that's to me that's baller.
Oh yeah, you look at like the videos of like um what's his name, the drummer for Jay-Z. He drums with everyone. Drums with Katy Perry.
Uh,
Um,
can't think of them.
he did that crazy solo when he was like 12. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. I need to figure it out. Something junior.
Oh, Tony Royster Jr.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's insane.
him. You know, 'cause he probably plays with everybody, but yeah,
Oh yeah,
live performance definitely.
yeah.
It helps.
Okay. So last couple questions. Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time. Um, it's also hard to pinpoint. I watched Shawshank Redemption yesterday. It's a
That's
classic.
that's one of those ones that if it's on TV, it just you leave it there. Like
Yeah,
Shawshank, Forrest Gump,
yeah.
Private
Green Mile.
Ryan, Green Mile. Like yeah, there's just certain movies that if they're on, they just stay there.
But like a drama like that, okay, Shawshank, but like comedy, Step Brothers or Superbad. I don't know. I watch a lot of movies. It's hard
I
to
don't
say.
think I've seen Superbad.
Oh man, you got to do it. And then there's a
That's
new
is that the
show.
one with like what's his name?
It's Jonah Hill
Yeah.
and Michael Cera, I think his name. Um, but what's the other one? There's a new one out called like Good Boys, which is kind of like a take on Superbad, but they're in like middle school.
No, I don't
It's
think
like
I
a
heard
new
of it.
comedy, but
Okay,
it's pretty relentless and hilarious.
I'll check that out. All right. So last question. So alive or dead, what's the one concert that you would want to buy a ticket for right now?
Um, mhm. Man, these are good questions.
I do my research. No, these have no research involved. These are the best questions because I didn't have to look anything up.
Live or dead? Probably Queen Live Aid.
Damn, that's a good one. That's a good time travel moment right there.
That or um, actually, you know what? This is brutal about this because I was at this festival and it was before I was talking about the Gaslight Anthem. This is before I knew about them. And they were playing at one of the side stages, and Eddie Vedder went up and they did a cover of State 11 Trust. And this is before I knew that they were even a thing. And I think I was watching like the Wallflowers at the main stage. Anyway, once I figured this out, like I'm like, yeah. And that was like the one of the last years they were a band. Mind you, they are getting back together, like I said, but that would probably be it. And I was
And you were
alive
there.
and I was there.
Oh, dude.
And I didn't see it.
Shit. Well, that sucks, man. All right. Cool. So this has been such an awesome chat. It's awesome to catch up with you, man. I'm
Yeah,
so
man.
glad that
Thanks for having me on.
so glad I got to meet you at the booth that was so busy.
The red carpet was busy though.
Oh, the red carpet was nuts.
Yeah.
Like I was saying to the guys, it's like it felt like you were walking through one of those high school like haunted
Mhm.
houses. because you're like coming around corners. There's like a smoke machine, so there's all this atmospheric whatever, and then people on either side coming at you with like either product or wanting to talk, or it was
The
just
boy
nuts.
from the Town Heroes with the vacuum
With the
cleaner.
vacuum cleaner, yeah.
And
I didn't even like, he bumped into me. He was like cleaning under my shoe. I didn't even realize who it was. I was just like, oh, sorry, I'll get out of your way.
yeah, that was definitely a highlight. There's so many highlights from that week, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I'm glad we finally got to get this going because it was
Yeah.
weeks in the works.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, this is
and we'll
awesome.
have to schedule. We'll have to get a show.
Yeah, I'm already trying to figure something out in the fall. I know you're going to have a pretty busy schedule over the summer.
Yeah, summer's pretty well
Booked up.
pretty full now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know if we'll probably get a couple of shows going in the summer here or there, but I think probably the fall would be where we're going to hook up.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man, for doing this.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Anytime.
So, anytime. Right on, brother.
Hey, brother. Take care.
You too, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Always enjoy having our conversations, whether it's about music or hockey or just anything else that we've gotten to chat about. Go and support Ryan and all of his musical endeavors. Wicked Vices, Kylie Fox, Too Bad Jim. Go back into the catalog of Miss Hippie. He was with that project for a while, based out of Fredericton as well. And support the local music scene. Go check out all those bands that I mentioned, and anyone else that's been on the podcast that is a musician or an artist or both, and support the local products that they have. You know, the merchandise that you buy from them, whether it's a t-shirt, a vinyl, a CD, anything that's a physical copy like that, that you can buy at a show or you can order online. Send them a DM on Instagram, Facebook. They're all online, so you can definitely reach out. Those products help the artist way more than the algorithm that is against the artists with all the streaming platforms. We all do the streaming stuff because it's kind of the world we live in, and it is a bit, exposure, but it's that whole, you get paid in exposure as opposed to, actually getting paid. Anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah, support the local arts by directly supporting the artist, and that is to go see a show, that is to buy merchandise from them, that is to send them a message and tell them that you like what they're doing. That goes a long way. As artists, we wear our hearts on our sleeve, and even though we create art for ourselves to put out into the world, it's good to know that what we do has a positive impact on other people. So yeah, if you hear something that you like, send that person a message. Tell them, why you like it. Tell them how it made you feel. That will go a long way. Especially, now with everything being so disconnected and we're just starting to kind of come back together as a community. I think that's very important. So not to get super philosophical on everybody. So I'll just end it here and wish you all well, peace and love. And, as usual, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, be kind. Kindness always wins. All right. Till the next one.